So maybe you've been through a breakup, maybe you've had serious disappointment, maybe you've been told off and you're quite mortified by the whole thing and feel kind of like quite ashamed by it all. That's what we're going to explore in today's homeopathic remedy. Hello, my name's Dawn Waterhouse. I'm a homeopath and naturopathic practitioner, and I also work with Reiki and meditation and biofeedback. Today we're exploring Ignatia, a homeopathic remedy for acute grief, and it helps overcome disappointments as well. Of course, with all my homeopathic remedies that I work with you, please do seek the attention of a medical practitioner if you need any support or advice, or a homeopathic practitioner if you want to explore whether the remedies are quite right for you. So one of the pictures of Ignatia, which there are many sides to it, is that Ignatia can be quite idealistic. They can set themselves up for their perception of perfection and what they feel is right in any ideal world, which is usually a very, very beautiful perception. And if they manage to do it all, then that's amazing. But it's when things go wrong that Ignatia remedy types can really struggle. So when they're disappointed by the outcome of things, by people's behaviours, by being told off when they perceive that they've not done anything wrong, and they can become quite mortified and not do it again. So that starts closing down your box. Kind of like you kind of start boxing yourself in because you've been told not to do this and not to do that and not to do something else, and you're not, because you're an idealistic person, you're not going to try and breach those boundaries when maybe the person that's corrected you has not given you all the details of that boundary for you to make that informed decision of like, get out, shake. In that situation it wasn't okay, but I could do that in this situation. So because of that, you start putting yourself in a box and you start kind of like struggling because you're narrowing your boundaries down. That's one perspective of it. Ignatia is very, very sensitive, and so Ignatia may struggle in a breakup where maybe they were having what they felt was the perfect relationship and it's broken. They might not want to make a breakup because that's not a nice thing to do. They're generally quite idealistic and romantic in their perceptions, and they are just really lovely, sensitive people that can sometimes become a bit oversensitive because they've put themselves in such a box that it's difficult to move. And therefore then anything kind of moving those boundaries more is kind of squishing their boundaries in too much. So your people around an Ignatia might feel they're starting to walk on eggshells because that person can become so sensitive. So you kind of become very reactive to things, but not necessarily in an explosive way. It's more emotional. So Ignatia can be quite emotional. They can be very sensitive to being humiliated and very sensitive to being reprimanded. And quite often Ignatia people are never well since a grief or a serious breakup or the loss of a friendship maybe. They're all different types of grief, and it's kind of, it's really painful. They might love romantic films, and they might like eating correctly. For example, they might perceive the right way to eat. They might perceive the right way to behave. They might perceive the right way to, everything in life they might see the correct way. They will also struggle with anxiety and anxiety of their conscience because they might be prone to feel guilty because they want to do the right thing. And just the same as the example of being oversensitive from being told off, they might be really sensitive to doing anything wrong. So that makes them very guilt driven because they're not going to want to do anything wrong. They may also sigh a lot. They may feel that everything's so much of a weight that they sigh. Another side of Ignatia is homesickness. So they might struggle if they're away from home. So you kind of like want that safety of home. They might also be perfectionists in so many different ways. They want to do things right. So for example, a child, they might struggle with their drawing because they've made a mistake and they'll throw it away and want to start again instead of being able to perceive that it's not wrong. Maybe there's just a different way to perceive the picture they're drawing. They all have to be right, and so they can become quite exhausted from wanting to do things right. They might struggle to let go, and they might brood a lot on past offences and hurts. So they might struggle with being stuck on, stuck in a place because they can't move on from that place of being hurt. They might struggle to let go and move on. And they may also have headaches that feel like a nail going through the head. Quite a lot of people that you work with or see with Ignatia are often more on that emotional side, but there is quite a lot of physical side with it as well, that as a homeopath I would see and work with on so many different things. But with Ignatia, you're looking emotionally to maybe feeling broody about, feeling broody as in like brooding on emotional things. So brooding on negative things that have happened in the past, not being able to let go of things, just struggling with them being stuck because maybe you can't process why somebody's done something. So you'd be brooding on past things that have happened and not being able to let it go. So does any of that resonate with you? Can you kind of connect with any of those things? Have you used Ignatia in the past? I'd love to hear from you. If you don't agree with homeopathy, then that's absolutely fine. Please don't comment because everyone's entitled to their own opinions. But if you like natural therapies or wanting to learn more about natural therapies, maybe you've used Ignatia before, or maybe some of the things I've said resonate with you or a family member. You don't have to mention who it resonates with, but if you want to share a comment about that, then I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you've got any questions or queries and you want to get in touch or want to know more about support with homeopathic remedies, or have got something you'd like me to cover in the future, again, please do get in touch. I really would love to hear from you. So take care, keep well, and I'll see you soon.